Welcome to An Accidental Vagabond, where we explore the mosaic of our unexpected journeys. This is the U.S.A. Road Tripper series. Welcome to day 14, the New York to Maine portion of the trip. If you are interested in seeing any of the other videos, check the links in the description below, like, subscribe, and comment for more content. This is New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Good morning. Good morning. Hi. Oh, hi. Aren't you sweet? Aren't you sweet? Again, friends. Does that feel okay? Yeah. Today's video is possibly the longest of all 14 videos, or at least it is one of the longest. You can blame all the farm animals. They too cute to cut. Chicken 1, chicken 2, chicken 3. Oh, what a nice shot. Hope you moved. That's a pretty face. Shadow Hills Farm in the Adirondacks was one of our favorite places to stay. There are 2 cabins on the property that can be rented, but on this day it was just us and the animals. And the Adirondacks are absolutely beautiful. This is one of those places that deserves more than one night's stay. I really wish we could have stayed longer, and I know we'll be back one day. Ooh, there's a new chicken, the white chicken.
We're about to warm up those shoulders a little bit more. 3, 2.
An has been doing Max 30 workout 5 days a week for 5 years. He never misses a weekday. It's borderline crazy.
Rocky Balboa.
This little... that was funny. Is it a cow? Oh my god. Ow. Yeah, you definitely were used to each other. How come you have such pretty eyes? You have really pretty eyes. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Your ears are so soft. So you knew I came over here because I wanted to meet the donkey, but you're just not into that, right? No meeting the donkey. These horns are a little bit tough. They kind of hurt. Yeah, they kind of hurt. Hey. Yeah, it's kind of dirty back here, right? Yeah, that's really dirty. Yeah, you got like dirt behind your ears. I gotta wash my hands. Oh my goodness. Yeah, really dirty. Really dirty. Really dirty. Sure, but it's not possible. Bye. Okay. Babe, smile. Oh. Bye, Benny. We felt really lucky to have had time to explore the farm. For most days, we had been driving 8 to 9 hours and would oftentimes not get on the road until around 10 a.m., which, when driving east, is not early enough to make it to a place where Waista had light. One thing we hadn't considered while planning this trip was the time changes. For our stay at Shadow Hills Farm, we had plenty of daylight, giving us time to look around, and we also woke at 6 a.m. on that travel day. And that gave us a lot of time, as you can tell from the video, to hang out with the animals before leaving. And here we are, back on the road again. A quick, simple fact reminders about New York State. New York is called the Empire State. Its capital is Albany. Its highest point is Mount Marcy at 5,344 feet, or 1,629 meters. And its largest city is, can you guess it? That's right, New York. We left Shadow Farms and headed north on 43 to Highway 149, which then took us to Highway 4. And we stayed on Highway 4 until we reached Vermont. Now, it didn't take us too long to get to Vermont, since Shadow Hills Farm is not too far from the state border. All my life, I've known about New York City and wanted to go to New York City, and when I finally went to New York City, I was not disappointed. I love New York City. But I'd always heard about other parts of New York as well, called upstate New York, or the Adirondacks, or what's another one? Montauk, the Hamptons, all the places that the people who live in New York City go in the movies. And it was absolutely stunning and beautiful in most places in upstate New York. So I can understand why those rich Manhattan people like to go and stay on the farms in upstate New York, in the Adirondacks, or the Catskills. That's the other one. Right when we got to the state line between Vermont and New York is where we were stopped in some construction, but it wasn't too hot of a day and it was absolutely beautiful out, and it was a good time to just get some cool pictures of some cool farmhouses. Is this a Dutch style farmhouse? That's what I would think it is, but I know nothing. Vermont. Woo! Vermont is the Green Mountain State, and its capital is Montpelier. The highest point, Mount Mansfield, at 4,393 feet, or 1,339 meters. The largest city, Burlington. Although we were only driving through Vermont and not staying in Vermont, I was still excited because I have always wanted to go to Vermont. I've only heard good things about its beauty, and it's also the home of Bernie Sanders and Ben & Jerry's ice cream, so what more could you want? And cheese, and green, and beautiful flowers, and cows, and yeah. I'm glad that we drove through. Hopefully we'll be staying soon. Highway 4, which took us into Vermont, also took us all the way across Vermont until we neared the border. Once we got to the White River Junction, we crossed over onto Interstate 89, and Interstate 89 took us a little bit southward, and that is how we went into New Hampshire. Once we got into the New England area, the upper east coast of the United States, we started passing through a lot of towns called Woodstock. And the first time I saw the Woodstock, I got really excited because I thought, wow, this is it. This is the music history spot, Woodstock of the 70s. I don't even really think about the 90s one, even though I would not have been born or old enough to go to the one that happened in the 70s. It still is kind of like an iconic memory of mine from video footages I had seen as a child. But then I realized there's a lot of Woodstocks in this area, so I'm not really sure which one it was. So a quick Google search shows me that the Woodstock Music and Art Fair, or the Music Festival, was in 1969 on Max Yasker's dairy farm in Bethel, New York, which is 40 miles southwest of the town of Woodstock. So that Woodstock is in New York, and the two Woodstocks that are here on my video are not the right Woodstock. But it doesn't matter. I thought it was exciting anyway. You're looking at the Connecticut River.
Welcome to New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Woo! New Hampshire, the Granite State. Its capital, Concord. Highest point, Mount Washington, at 6,288 feet or 1,917 meters. And the largest city is Manchester. Not to be mistaken for Mad Manchester in England. Hanover is home to the famous Dartmouth College, one of the many colleges that rejected me from grad school. Mediocre me, that's what I say. No Ivy League schools for me. It occurred to me as we passed through New Hampshire that I didn't know anything about this state. I didn't even know the capital. I didn't even know that Dartmouth was in New Hampshire, so no wonder I didn't get accepted. Blame it on me being raised in California. We think we're the center of the universe like Texans. But I now see the error of my ways. It's a funny thing when you look on the map of Vermont and New Hampshire. You can see at the northern part of Vermont, it's very wide, and then the New Hampshire part is very narrow. But then it's the opposite when you are going south. You've got a very narrow Vermont and a very wide New Hampshire. It just makes me wonder about the people who divided the state lines. Who are they? How'd they divide those lines? It's like it was a rectangle that they decided to cut in a diagonal. I don't have anything else to blather on about for the next few miles, so why don't you just enjoy the views of the beautiful houses, the green trees, and the sound of the music.
Without a stone, talk to throw a bone. For a while.
Once we reached Orford, we turned east onto 25A, which took us to Highway 118. And once we were on Highway 118, we turned north until we reached Highway 112 east. Highway 112 led us to the town of Conway.
The carpet head onto the faucet, you're my alibi. It's fair enough, you wanna cock it, hoping I'll forget following the night. We made a joke about the half-cut 80 metaphor, and lady made her cry.
Once we reached Conway, that's where we switched to Highway 13. Then we took Highway 13 through Conway, outside of Conway, and then finally we reached 302, which is the final highway that we would take that would drive us all the way into our final destination, which was Maine. Sometimes on the road you have to change your plans. We had to make 2 adjustments to our travels during this trip. The first was in the Black Hills because we got into South Dakota too late and because the heat had made us all miserable and a bed was what we needed. Plus, we only had 1 day and we're tent camping. So setting up a tent after 10 p.m. only to have to break it down again the next day before 10 a.m. is just not fun. So when it came to our next camping trip in Littleton, Vermont, we last minute changed our plans again and decided to stay the night in a southeastern part of Maine. So that way, on the last day of driving, which would be the following day, my husband wouldn't be too exhausted. After all, he's going to be meeting his new boss and starting work on the day after that. So we decided to try to take care of ourselves as best we could on this very rushed tour, although we did allow ourselves to see a few things, but it's definitely not enough time to really appreciate this northern part of America. And there we have it, folks. It's getting closer, Maine. Welcome home. The first town that we entered was Fryeburg, Maine. And then from Fryeburg, instead of just going straight east, we decided to head a little bit northward. We drove 302 around Jordan Bay Lake, one of the many lakes in Maine, and eventually we turned onto 115 East over to 202, which led to 26A, which then turned into 26, which turned into Shaker Road, and it was there that we stopped for the night. We are nearly to the end of our journey. We settled for the night in a place in southeastern Maine, and tomorrow we are off for down east Maine, where we will live for at least a year, maybe longer. Who knows? I hope you enjoyed this leg of the journey. There's only one more video left, and it's just of the final destination in Maine. Please come back and check out the next one, and then come back to see some more. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. I really appreciate you making it this far. You're a special one.